In this video, you'll be learning about how to multiply and divide fractions. We will also go over how to add and subtract fractions. Let's get started. Little bit review on how to change a mix into improper fraction. Here's an example, 5 and 3/4. Let's read the steps again. In order to change this into improper, I would multiply 5 and 4 first to get a 20. And then I will add my numerator 3 to that, so numerator will become 23. You want to keep the denominator 4 as is. So the improper fraction equals to 23 over 4. Let's go over multiplying fractions now. There are two methods which you can use in order to multiply. You can multiply first, then reduce, or you can reduce first and then multiply the fraction. Either method will work. Before we go over an example, just to show you how to multiply and how to reduce. If you chose to multiply first, then you always multiply across, meaning a numerator and a numerator, a denominator and a denominator. If you chose to reduce first, you can choose any numerator and denominator of your choice. That could be vertical, like this way, or it could be diagonal, numerator, denominator, this way. Let's look at an example both ways. Here's my first example. I'm using a method 1, so I will multiply first, meaning multiplying both the numerators and multiplying both the denominators. 5 times 4 will give me 20 on the top, 8 times 3 will give me 24 on the bottom. Now 20 over 24, you must divide both by 4 in order to reduce. That should give you the final answer of 5 over 6. This is the method 1. Let's redo this problem using the method 2. This time I'm going to reduce. So let me get the pen here just to highlight things. So if I try to see what two numbers I can reduce, if you look at 5 and 8, there's nothing common. If you look at 4 and 3, there's nothing common. 5 and 3, nothing common. 4 and 8 is the only number which can be reduced. So 4 directly goes into 8. You must divide both by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. That's all I can do. I cannot reduce furthermore. So let's multiply, which we will do across. 5 times 1 is 5 and 2 times 3 is 6. So I showed you same example, two different ways, and we still come up with the same answer, 5 over 6. Let's try some more examples. 5 over 9 times 10 over 7. Now in this case, it doesn't really matter which method you will use because none of the numbers can be reduced. 5 and 9, 5 and 7, 10 and 7, 10 and 9. So the only option for you is just to multiply across. Let's do that. 5 times 10 and 9 times 7, that should give me 50 over 63. You see that if we cannot reduce before, we will not able to reduce after either. Let's try one with the mixed number because we reviewed how to change the mixed number into improper first. So if I change 4 and 2/5 into improper, I would multiply 5 times 4, which is 20. 20 plus 2 is 22. My first fraction will become 22 over 5. Let's try the second one. 4 times 5, 20. 20 plus 1, 21. My second fraction will become 21 over 4. Let's write that down first. Okay, now we have to think, what can I reduce? 21 and 4, no. 22 and 5, no. 5 and 21, no, and 22 and 4. These two can be reduced. 4 doesn't go directly into 22, but I can still divide both of them by 2. Let's go ahead and divide both 22 and 4 by 2. 4 divided by 2 will be 2. 22 divided by 2 will be 11. I guess that's all we can do, so now we're going to multiply across. 11 times 21 and 5 times 2 should give you 231 over 10. Let's move on dividing. If you know how to multiply, then you probably already know how to divide. Here's an example. 3 over 10 dividing by 4 over 7. Let me go over the steps first with you. Step number 1 is writing the first fraction as is. In this case, 3 over 10 is my first fraction. I'm going to leave as is. Step number 2, you want to change the dividing sign into multiplication because we just learned how to multiply. When you change the sign, you must flip or write the reciprocal of the second fraction. My second fraction is a 4 over 7, so if I flip it, it will become 7 over 4. Now, we changed the dividing problem into multiplication. We just did the multiplication problem before, so we know how to do it. In this case, 3, 10, 7, 4, 3, 4, 7, and 10. There's nothing can be reduced. The only option is to multiply across 3 times 7 and 10 times 4. So your final answer should be 21 over 40. This is how you will divide. Let's try another example. 24 over 5 divided by 18 over 27. Let's first flip. So I'm going to write 24 over 5, change the sign to multiplication, and I will flip it 18 over 27 as 27 over 18. Now let's try to reduce first. So here you have two options. You can start either 24 and 18, dividing both by 6, or you can go 27 over 18, dividing both by 9. Choice is completely yours. I'll start here with 27 and 18. I'm going to divide both by 9. 18 divided by 9 will give me 2. 27 divided by 9 will give me 3. Now, one more time I have to go because 24 and 2 can go directly. So I'll go one more time. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 24 divided by 2 is 12. I think I'm done reducing now, diagonally and vertically. So the only option more for me is to multiply across. So 12 times 3 and 5 times 1, go ahead and multiply. That should give you 36 over 5, which I cannot reduce. So this is how you will divide. Let's move on now to adding and subtracting fractions. Adding and subtracting fractions, I'll be doing two kinds of problem. The first type of problem I'll be doing is where you have a like denominators or you have a same denominators. Second type of problem I will do where you will have a different denominators or alike denominators. Let's see the first like denominators. So the rule for adding is that if you have the same denominator, in this case both are 8, you will keep your denominator same and you just add on the top. Okay, so one more time, you will leave your denominator as is and you will just add on the top. If I do that, I should get 12 over 8. 12 over 8 must be reduced. You must divide this furthermore. 4 can go into both, so dividing 12 and 8 both by 4, I should get 3 over 2. That should be my final answer. Let's try one subtraction. 17 over 7 minus 3 over 7. One more time, you see the denominator is same. You want to keep it same. Subtract on the top. 17 minus 3 should give you 14. 14 over 7 can be easily reduced. It goes evenly. 7 goes into 14 twice. And therefore, your final answer is 2. Before I go and do unlike problems, I would like to go over how to find the LCD first. So we will first learn how to find the LCD in order to make the denominators same. Different denominators cannot be added or subtracted unless they are same denominators. To do that, you will require LCD, which is the least common denominator. Here are some examples. Number 7 and 21. So I'm looking for a number which goes into 7 times table, also into 21 times table. Look at the bigger number. If the bigger number you already have 21, then see 7 in 7 times table. Do you see 21? If that is the case, then 21 is your LCD. Second example, you have 8 and 7. If you see that nothing can go, if you try to divide 8 and 7 by something, nothing can go. In this case, the easiest way to find the LCD is just to multiply 8 and 7, and that should give you 56. One more time, we got 8 and 12. Now, 12 is a bigger number, but in 8 times table, you don't have a 12. So you want to keep writing 12 times table. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Do I have 24 in 8 times table? Yes. And therefore, my LCD is 24. Let's give a shot to one more. This time I'm taking 3 numbers, 2, 8, and 10. The bigger number is 10. 10 goes into 2 times table, but not the 8. So I will keep writing my 10 times table. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. In 8 times table, you don't have 20. 10 times 3 is 30. In 8 times table, you don't have 30. 10 times 4 is 40. 40 can go into 2 and 8 both. And therefore, 40 is your LCD. Now let's look at the example of unlike denominators. Let's first try adding 5 over 12 plus 3 over 8. You should be able to find first the LCD for 12 and 8. So we already did that in a previous example, and the LCD should be 24. How do I make my denominators 24? You must multiply 12 here by 2 to get 24. You must do the same thing on the top. You must multiply 8 by 3 on the bottom. So you must do the same thing on the top. Let's look at that step. Here we go. 12 times 2 is 24. Same thing, 5 times 2 will give me 10. 3 times 8 in the denominator gives me 24. So if I do the same thing on the top, it will give me 9. This is what I get. You see, what I did is changing an unlike fractions into like. Now we know what to do. Just keep the 24 as is, and you will add the top. You should get 19 over 24, which is already in the lowest term. Let's try one unlike problem with the subtraction now. 13 over 15 minus 2/3. 15 and 3. 15 is a bigger number. 3 directly goes into 15, and therefore my LCD is 15. The first fraction is not to be changed because you already have 15. The second fraction here, I'm going to multiply by 5 on the bottom, same thing on the top. Let's do that. So you see that the first fraction I did not change, I already have a 15. The second one I just multiply by 5 and 5. That should give me the 10 over 15. Now we got the like denominators, subtract 13 minus 10 and keep the 15. You should get 3 over 15. This time we must reduce. 3 over 15 should be dividing both by 3. That should give you 1 over 5 as your final answer. Hopefully this video helped you with adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Repeat if needed.